Pauline, thanks for joining us. Can you start by introducing yourself and telling us a bit about your background?
Yes, sure. And I hope you have a bit of time ahead of you because as a bit of a dinosaur in this industry, this might take a while, but I will try to keep it short. So I'm currently lead UA at Million Victories, working on Million Lord. It's a mid-core real-time strategy game, but I moved around quite during my career. I actually started in MMORPGs with Ragnarok Online, then moved into user acquisition across various companies from Facebook games like Criminal Case more than 10 years ago to hyper casual title, casual game at Ubisoft, and a lot of work on otome games like Is It Love? And I also spend sometimes agency side, so at Addict Mobile, which gave me the chance to work on the wide range of apps, gaming, but also non-gaming. And so now I've been with Million Victories for about 3 years. And on the side, I also work as a freelancer, helping other companies with UA challenges. And more recently, I started doing something really, really completely different, creating UGC and content on TikTok about hairstyle.
Well, that made me tired just listening to it, but that's obviously amazing experience. It's great to hear. You've run UA across a range of channels like you were talking about. Where are you seeing the strongest returns now in 2025? And how do you think about channel diversification?
So this year we have actually seen a really strong return from Applovin, especially with day 28 optimization. But of course, it depends on the type of app you are working on. For Million Lords, we have a very long LTV. So this kind of optimization works very well and fit perfectly with our games. And when it comes to channel diversification, unless you are King or Supercell or Scopely or whatever, I think it's better to focus on maybe 4 to 6 ad networks and really master them. That means understanding not only the optimization side, of course, you need to know that, but also how to send your data and post-backed, and of course your creative, making sure each one is really thought through and tailored for each network. So I would say it's important to limit yourself to a few key partners, but without putting all your eggs in one basket, because you don't want to rely only on one or two networks, because you need to be to stay flexible if performance drop or there is an issue, a fraud or whatever on your top channel. You should be able to quickly shift the budget to another networks that's already active and performing.
So ideally 4 to 6, but not spreading yourself too thin. Got it. And how does Million Victories think about retargeting versus UA or user acquisition? Do you manage those separately or build campaigns holistically across the life cycle?
So at Million Victories, we always try to keep a certain percentage of our advertising budget dedicated to retargeting. The idea is to run both strategy in parallel. We keep acquire new player, but at the same time, we focus on bringing back our most engaged user when they become inactive for a few days to avoid them for to lose them for good. So yes, we want to avoid that because our core gameplay actually requires players to be very quite consistent. So if they stop playing, they will lose their city. So it can be very frustrating for them. So yeah, keeping player active is really important for us, and that's exactly where retargeting play a key role for our audience.
Yeah, and you mentioned that re-engagement can be more cost effective than acquiring new users, especially in games like Million Lords. How do you decide when it's time to re-engage versus scale acquisition?
Yeah, totally. When you're working on a niche game, so not a mass market title, you really need to ask yourself: is it easier to bring back someone who already knows and love our game can have a lot of hour playing it, or go after a complete stranger. And that's the thing with retargeting. You already know the player, understand your game, and it's a good fit for them. So then it's on us to make their return and their comeback very exciting with a special offer, with booster, or anything that makes the return feel rewarding. And of course, it's depending on the game design. And with new user, there's always a risk. You pay to bring them in, but they might not like the game and churn right away. So you have spent your UA budget, and you don't always get long-term value. Whereas with retargeting, if you define, of course, your audience properly, that risk is way lower. So you're still spending on ads, but your chance of success are much higher. Yeah, at the end of the day, you need both, because UA and retargeting really works hand in hand. So your acquisition efforts feed your retargeting audience over time. So it's super important to keep acquisition engine running.
Absolutely. And you touched on something that I deal with every day and care a lot about. But what have you learned about building audiences for re-engagement? To go deeper, are there any particular signals or behaviors that help you identify users who are worth bringing back?
Yeah, there is no single formula, and that works for each game. It can be completely different for another. So you really have to adapt your audience building to the gameplay and the game design. So for a game like Million Lords, obviously we look at the purchase event, of course, but also at engagement signals. So it's very specific to our games, but which league the players in, how many battles they fought, how many cities they own, things like that. But if I think about otome games I used to work on, it was completely different logic. We would focus on where the player was in the story, and how fast they were reading through the chapters. So yeah, it's super important to set up the right in-game event in your MMP, ones that actually reflect the engagement of the player. And the other point is making sure that when the player come back, they have something new to discover. So you really need to take into account their game progression and completion before bringing them back in the game. Yeah.
Absolutely. And according to Addictive's new retention report, we saw that 76% of marketers use video creatives and retargeting, but only about 59% say they actually adapt creatives for retargeting. What's your take on creative repurposing versus creative tailing for re-engagement specifically?
Yeah, I was quite surprised about this statistic, honestly. I'm gonna use a metaphor to answer this one.
Okay.
I hope it should make it pretty clear, but running a retargeting campaign, for me, it's like a bit trying win back your ex, you know? Your ex
Dangerous.
already knows you, the good, the bad, so you cannot approach them the same way you approach someone new. So with UA, it's like flirting with someone you just met, so you can show your best side, highlight that make you shine. So in UA Creative, yeah, you basically introducing the game, explaining the core gameplay, the main feature, because you are talking to someone who doesn't know you yet. But in retargeting, it will be useless. The player already knows the mechanics. They probably spent hours in the game. So yeah, with your ex, you have to be honest and show something new, remind them how good things were together, or prove that you have changed. So, so they will want to come back. And yeah, it's exactly the same with creative. So you cannot talk to former players or users the same way you talk to new ones. So you need to show them what's new in the game. So maybe new live ops, a new league, a new feature, or play on feelings of progression. You're not gonna stop here, are you? Just a more few battle and you will reach the next level, or I don't know, things like that. So yeah, to sum up, it's super important to differentiate your UA creative for your retargeting one, because you're not talking to the same person. It's completely different people. Yeah. So I hope my ex metaphor makes sense.
And it not only makes sense, but we could spend all day on it, but I love it. What's the strategy or tactic you used recently that helped, you unlock scale, whether on the creative side in targeting or campaign setup?
I would say there's two things really. First, and that may sound normal now, but on most of the big networks today, algorithm just performs way better when you give them totally full freedom. So that's what's been working super well for us lately. It's not doing any targeting at all. So no segmentation, not even by country, just a fully worldwide campaign, and we let the algo do its magic. I know that honestly it works like that.
Yeah,
So
I've seen
it's
that firsthand.
yeah. So it's the first. And the second thing about creative is not surprise anymore, but often the least polished creative is the best. So sometimes even the ugly, it was the case for a long time, but yeah, it still happened. And it's crazy, but just a recording a simple gameplay video without any editing, where almost nothing happened on the screen, can actually drive amazing results. And the nice thing about those is that they are 100% authentic. So it's a game, it's a true gameplay. So player know exactly what they are getting into. So which usually means better post-click installs and even stronger retention after. And plus they are super quick and easy to produce internally. So it's a win-win.
Absolutely. What's something UA managers should be thinking about more often but overlook in today's performance landscape?
It kind of ties back what I mentioned earlier, but I really think that the idea of a classic targeting, I mean, the way we used to do it doesn't exist anymore. But even if we don't target by interest, like on Meta, for example, for now, but the people we reach through our creative still have those interests. And that's something we shouldn't forget when we design ads. So, for example, if you know your audience, I don't know, is really into manga, for instance, how do you bring that vibe into your creative? And that's where the real targeting happens today. Is not at the campaign setup. You shouldn't set up like manga in the interest section or things like that, but inside the creative itself. It's important to still think about this kind of interest. And honestly, I think a lot of UA manager overlook that today. We should always think of your audience as a real person with interest, motivation, passion, and find a way to reflect that in your app to grab their attention. Yeah.
Well, thank you for your time today. It was great talking about X's and retargeting. Where can the people find you? And is there anything cool you're working on that you want to talk about?
Yeah. Thank you so much, and thank you the whole addictive team for the invitation. It was super cool and fun. You can find me on LinkedIn or on TikTok under the account Coiffure de Victoria in French, especially if you have a little girl who loves the hairstyle. And more seriously, if you are currently, we at Million Victories, we are currently hiring for several positions. So feel free to check out our website and our job openings.
Thank you again.
Thank you.